Hello and welcome to episode 119 of the Giddy Knits podcast. As always, I am Helen and I am coming to you from Dundee in Scotland, where I live with my husband Tom and my two boys, Arthur who is 8 and Jasper who is 5. Today is Tuesday, the 10th of May. I know, recording on a Tuesday is a little bit odd. I had intended to sit down and record yesterday and then I realised I'd forgotten to charge my camera battery. So I did the work that I needed to do yesterday, so that I could do this today instead of yesterday. Anyway, I'm here. Welcome back to regular viewers. Thank you as always for continuing to come back and watch the podcast. It is so lovely to know that there are so many of you that come back. And hello to anyone that is new. If you are new and you don't know who I am, did I say I'm Helen? I'm not sure. Maybe I did. Anyway, I'm Helen. I am the dyer behind Giddy Yarns, and this is my crafting podcast where I talk about whatever crafting projects I have been working on in the last week or period between podcasts. It's been 2 weeks this time, but you were aware of that, so that's good. I didn't just drop off the face of YouTube for a change. So today, what have I got for you? This is a standard podcast episode. I have got a little announcement section. I've got a finished object to share. I've got some works in progress to talk about. I've got some blanket progress to share. I've also got a new cast on, although I'm not sure whether I'm calling it a new cast on or whether I am just going to call it club stuff. Basically, I have club stuff to share. I've got a little bit of Yarny Goodness and then I will finish up at the end with a little bit of shop news, I think. And that's kind of everything. Right. Announcements, as always, just to say that we have the Giddy Yarns make-along, which is my ongoing make-along that I run kind of constantly, and any project that you finish that uses at least 50% of my yarn, at least 50% of Giddy Yarns, you can enter and be in with the chance of winning a prize at the end of each quarter. I draw 2 winners at the end of each quarter, and yeah, you could be in with a chance of winning the prize. It's just my way of giving back to my lovely customers. So all the details of how you can apply are underneath the video. You can apply on Instagram, YouTube, Instagram, Ravelry, and in our Mighty Networks group. And also, yeah, details of how to apply, rules, everything are down below. The next prize draw will be at the end of June, I think. So that is that one. I haven't got any plans for any new make-alongs at the moment. I know I've got a few really, really busy months coming up. And I'm just coming off the back of some chaotic months as well. But we finally, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast. Have I mentioned this already? If I have, apologies, I'm repeating myself. We have finally got a date for our garage conversion. We are having our garage converted from just a basic garage that it is at the moment into a room that will work as an office for me / a spare bedroom. Our sofa bed will be going in there. So when we've got guests, they will have somewhere to sleep because we are in a 3-bed house and both the children have bedrooms. We were in a 3-bed house previously, but the children shared. Because in the old house, all of the bedrooms were big enough for a double bed. Whereas in this house, one of the bedrooms is very much a little box room, which is Arthur's room. But he's got a massive cabin bed with all kinds of storage stuff underneath it. So it works. But yeah, basically we don't have a spare room or a room that could work as an office or a spare room in this house. And yeah, we want one. So we are having the garage converted. The work is due to start on the 13th of June and it's apparently going to take about 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm aware that that's going to be absolute chaos. And somebody asked a while back, where am I going to dye once the garage is converted? Yeah, I won't be dyeing in the garage anymore, but our plans are for me to dye in the utility room. At the moment, we have a utility room that backs onto the garage, and we basically use it as like additional kitchen storage space. It's got our washing machine in it, it's got our fridge in it, but it's actually quite a big room. It's pretty much the same size as our kitchen, which is tiny, but it's quite a big room. So we're having the door that goes into the garage at the moment closed off, and we're going to have work surface put in, and I'm hoping to get a kind of 4-tray oven so that I can still dye at the same capacity in a smaller space. So yeah, it's all planned, it's all under control, but I am very much looking forward to having an office space that isn't freezing cold in winter and is going to be much more comfortable and easier for me to use generally. And hopefully will give you a nicer podcast background. Although I did tidy the shelves a bit. They are not as chaotic as normal. Anyway, I'm really rambling, aren't I? What was all of that to say? Busy few months, so no make-alongs. Yeah, so then at the end of June, my kids break up from school because we are in Scotland, so they break up at the end of June and go back mid-August. And I will be taking 3 weeks. That's the fish fan. I will be taking 3 weeks off during the summer holidays because we really want to spend some time as a family this summer and actually do some family things. I'm not vending at Perth this year. I didn't apply to vend at Perth this year, specifically because I didn't want to spend my summer holidays having to prep and work towards Perth. So yeah, hopefully that's going to be the plan. But it means I've got a lot to do to get myself ahead so that I can manage the chaos that's coming. But I have a plan. I will stick to it. It will all be under control, hopefully. Right, should we talk some knitting before I ramble for another half an hour? I finished object. I finished Tom's March sock. I know it looks really baggy on these sock blockers. I bought some new sock blockers because I only have one pair, which for normal use would be absolutely fine. But I really wanted to take a photograph the other day for the shop, and I wanted to take a photograph with 3 socks in it. And I realised that I only have 2 sock blockers, so I couldn't really get a nice sock photograph. So I ordered some more. Although I did order them my size, so they are obviously a little bit small. The socks are too big for the blockers. Anyway, I finished Tom's March sock, and here it is. So if you are new and you don't know what I'm talking about, each month for my shop, I am releasing a colour of the month, inspired by a digital art image. And I am knitting my husband socks. Well, I'm knitting him a sock each month so that he has a series of odd socks at the end of the year using each of the colour of the month colours. So this was the March colour of the month. And yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I did my standard for this, for Tom. So I did 10 rows of rib. I did 70 rows on the leg. I did a German short row heel. I did however many, it's like 82 rows or something for the foot. And then I did an umbrella toe. The umbrella toe is part of the umbrella sock pattern from Kay Jones, the Bakery Bears. It's a really interesting toe. It's got, see if I can pop it on the actual sock blocker and bring it up closer. It's got decreases all the way around. You can see why it's called an umbrella toe, because it does look like an umbrella, really. But yeah, it's a really nice hit toe, actually. I quite enjoy knitting it. It's the only one I had that I knew straight off I had the details for 72 stitches, which is why I went with it, rather than having to kind of look up 72 stitches for the toe that I usually do. I normally do a wedged toe, I think, but I had the 72 stitch umbrella toe already to hand, so that's why I went with it. Anyway, one finished object, which in 2 weeks is a little bit poor, but I do have some progress on other things. So yeah, works in progress, I guess. I've been doing a bit of work on my Mama cardigan. I don't know how to say that. Am I saying that right? Mama. I don't know. So this is a pattern by Pip and Pin. I have actually got the pattern, so that works quite well. And I'm knitting it out of my Through the Wardrobe colourway, which is one of my Narnia inspired colourways. I love this colour, I really do. When I dyed it for the Advent originally last year, I just fell in love with it completely, and I'm so excited to be knitting a garment in it. So the Mama cardigan is a It's knit from the top down. It's a top down raglan, but it's obviously cardigan, so you're knitting back and forth, so you're purling one side. And it uses a honeycomb brioche stitch, which, as I've said before, is a lot less complicated than it sounds. And I have made some reasonable progress on this, considering I've had a busy few weeks. So last time I shared this, I was where that little progress keeper is, my little dragon from the corner of craft. So I've kind of doubled where I was before. I'm not quite at the point of splitting for sleeves, but we're getting there slowly. I love, this is the brioche honeycomb stitch pattern, which is so, so pretty. And it is, yeah, as I said, so much simpler than I was expecting. So yeah, it's making progress. There's not really much to say about it. I'm still working on, I guess I'm still working on the yoke. I've got the kind of fronts and then the sleeves, and then I'm on the back, and that's all I've got to say about it really, but I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to getting the sleeves separated so that it's much more just, it'll be shorter rows obviously once the sleeves are gone. It's got quite wide sleeves, so I mean I'm not at the point at the moment of separating for sleeves, but I've already got kind of that much is all sleeve stitches. So once the sleeves go, it's going to be quite a lot less stitches on the needles. It does say that it's designed with quite wide sleeves, which I like, because I don't like a tight sleeve on a cardigan. So it'll be interesting to see how it looks when it's finished. But I'm really excited about it. I love how the colourway is knitting up. I am alternating skeins. Let's show you the stocking stitch bit on the sleeves. I am alternating skeins. And I'm doing that by knitting 2 rows and then just switching. But obviously because it's a cardigan, I'm just trying to work out which side I'm doing it on. Here we go. Because it's a cardigan, and because I will be picking up stitches along the side seam, along the side edge for the button band at the end, it's nice and easy to just alternate your, is this the right end? Yes, it is. It's nice and easy to just carry your yarn down the side, and then you just switch every 2 rows, just switch which ball you're holding. So that's quite nice and easy. There are a couple of places where I've forgotten to switch and I've had to just do 4 rows instead of 2 rows, but it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's knitting up. Really, really pleased with it. So that is that one, making progress. And then I've also made some progress on my Aquamarine sweater as well. Oh, look, I have my little, I don't know if I've shown all of these before. Have you seen these? These are little bag tags from Jem at, in fact, she's got her thing on the back, the little grey girl. And they've all got, you can get them with all kinds of different little things on them, and they just hook onto your bag. And I really like them, because if you're like me and you've got lots and lots of projects, it's quite handy to just look and go, oh, that's the one with my cardigan in. I think I have one on here as well. Yeah, there you go. I've got one on this bag as well, which says sweater. That bag is not a little grey girl bag though. That bag is an Eldenwood Craft bag. But it doesn't matter. Still marks off which bag it is. It's quite good marketing from Jem's perspective, because it means that she has her name on everybody's bags. Anyway, right, so Aquamarine. I talked about the fact that I changed one of the colourways I was using last time, and I have now got to the point where I'm working, am I working still with, no, I am now completely on the second colour. So I started, so the Aquamarine, if you're new, is it's knit bottom down, bottom up even. How would you knit a jumper bottom down? It's knit bottom up, and it's designed as a real scrappy kind of project. So it's designed with lots and lots of yarns held together. In the pattern, there's instructions for holding like 4 strands of fingering weight together, or holding DK with fingering weight, or holding chunky, and yeah. So basically it's a bulky weight sweater, but you make up the bulky weight by holding various different yarns together. I'm doing it by holding a strand of DK together with 2 strands of 4-ply, 2 strands of fingering weight. I'm holding this DK all the way through, and this is my dusk colourway. So I'm holding that all the way through, and then I'm holding it with different, I'm doing it like a fade. I've used the formula and kind of recipe from the So Faded sweater by Andrea Mowry to work out when I need to change for fading and all of that kind of thing. Hopefully I've got it right, but we'll find out. We'll make it work. I started with this colour held together. This is I want to stay up to see the sunrise from Corner of Craft. Is that what she called it? It was the first Knitical Roll. Yeah, I want to stay up to see the sunrise. It was the first Knitical Roll yarn club from this year. Her first campaign 3-1. And I've pretty much finished with that one for the body. And then I'm now holding it with this one, which is Beehive Yarns, and this is her Rose Lichen colourway. And then I've got 2 more that I'll be going into. So Love Hearts from Spectrum Fibres and Lupins from Hedgerow Yarns. So they are all in there and ready to go. But as I said, I have finished. So last time I showed this to you, I was where the progress pig is. These are all the way down the bottom there. So I have, what have I done? I finished holding the Corner of Craft yarn together with the just with the dusk, and then it's quite subtle, but then there is a section in here sort of just below this bit, so the inch below this progress keeper is a section where I held Rose Lichen, and so I held 1 strand of Rose Lichen, 1 strand of the Corner of Craft yarn, and then the strand of DK. You can just see actually here where the green starts kind of popping up every so often. So I held those 2 together for an inch, and now I've just started. I mean, you can see I'm not very far into the next bit, but now I've just started with just 2 strands of the Rose Lichen held together with the dusk colourway. So yeah, it's coming along. I've not done a lot on this week actually. I need to pick it up in the evenings a little bit more. I can move my progress pig so you'll be able to see how much I get done. But it is so simple. It's now at the point where it's just knitting round and round and round, which is really nice and relaxing. I think I'm trying to work out, I think what I'm struggling with a little bit in my head is I've never knit a bottom-up garment before. Actually, that's a lie. I knit an antler cardigan, which I think was bottom-up it was a bottom-up cardigan, but I knit it in like a baby size. But I've never knit a garment for me using a bottom-up pattern. So, and it's technically a cropped garment, and I'm not wanting to do it as cropped. So I've been doing a lot of measuring, and I think what I'm worried about is whether I will have got the length of the yoke correct, so that my colour changes are going to work all the way from the bottom to the top. I think that I'm a little bit worried about. And I'm also a little bit worried about working out the colour changes for the sleeves, because you knit the sleeves from the cuff up and then you join it all together. But I'm a little bit kind of like, well, I won't need to do the colour changes all the way up the sleeves. So trying to work out, but then it should be the same measurement-wise. I don't know. Anyway, lots of maths seems to be involved in this garment, but I think I'm on track. I think I know what I'm doing. I think I've been doing all kinds of, I'll show you. I've been doing all kinds of like maths and stuff on the back of my pattern. All kinds of bits of like, right, okay, so I need to do, the raglan should be 10.5 inches. 10.5 inches for the size that I'm knitting, and then there's a 2 inches where you kind of, for where you set the sleeves in and stuff like that. So the body should be 7.5 inches if I want to knit a 20-inch body, which I got Tom to measure from like the back of my neck down to kind of where I want the body length to be. So in theory that should be 20 inches. But I have no idea whether I'm going to be getting this right or wrong, or, I mean, 10.5, I don't know. I don't know. We will see what happens. I'm following the instructions, and hopefully I will get it right and it will all work out. The worst that happens is that my fade doesn't work quite as I was planning, and I end up with either a shorter section of the final colour or a longer section of the final colour, and actually that's not the end of the world at all. I think the fade's going to be quite subtle anyway, so yeah, it's not going to matter in the slightest. I am just overthinking it as always. But yeah, that is my aquamarine on the go, on the needles, and it is very enjoyable. If you've knit one, let me know anything about it. How did you get on with it? I mean, I imagine you would have done it scrappy, and hence you would have just followed the maths, like the numbers, rather than worrying about trying to do some complicated fade. But for some reason, my brain would not allow me to keep it simple. What else work in progress? Had I cast on Tom's April sock? Yeah, I think I'd cast on Tom's April sock, hadn't I? Last time? I don't know. Now I've put it in works in progress, but I don't know whether it was actually a work in progress or whether it's a new cast on. But oh well, we'll go for it. Right, hang on a second. That's the one there. This is Tom's April sock. So I've not done a masses on Tom's April sock. So again, going back to this is to do with the colour of the month. So I'm doing, as I said, with the March ones, one sock with each of the colour of the months for him. So this is the April colour of the month. And I've knit the leg of the sock. I love this colour. I've knit the leg of the sock, basically. So it's ready for a heel. I haven't put the heel in, only because I haven't actually wound myself up one of the navy minis that I did with it, because I just haven't got round to it, basically. So I do need to do that, actually. And then hopefully once I get the heel in, it won't take that long to finish. Maybe I'll try and do that today. Yeah, April. There is still some April sock sets and stuff in the shop if you like this and you want one. Yeah, I am enjoying knitting him his socks. It's nice to have just a really simple, mindless project on the go, isn't it? I knit on these quite a bit when I'm reading, when I just reach for my knitting to pick it up in the middle of the day and stuff like that. But there's not a lot to say, really. They are basically going to be exactly the same as the March sock that I showed you earlier, but in the April colourway. Yeah. What else? What else have I got to show you? Right, let's talk about the clubs from March, because I've got my little samples that I've been working on. So I will pop a timestamp on the screen, because I know some people, well, you should all have your March clubs, but I know some people, maybe international people, might not have them yet. They shipped at the end of March. And it's now, you should all have it. You should all have it. I'm not showing April's, this is March. So March is Middle Earth Minis, which I still try and call the Marvellous Monthly Minis. March is Middle Earth Minis. I have finally crocheted up the my squares for it, and my mind has just gone completely blank as to what all of these are. That's no good, is it? Right. Yep, completely blank. Right. That one was the Lonely Mountain. I really like this one. Greys with a bit of pinky purple in there. That one was Smaug. That one I think was the Journey Home. That one was Lake Town. And then that one, I think, was the Arkenstone. Whoops. There we go. There. So the Arkenstone, Lake Town, the Journey Home, Smaug, which I can't say today for some reason, and the Lonely Mountain. So that's those ones. So I've now got all of the first quarter, which was all of the Hobbit ones, crocheted up. So we had... oh goodness, here we go. A Feast for Trolls, Gandalf the Grey, the Shire, Bilbo Baggins, and Thorin Oakenshield. Then we had, what's it got in its pockets is? Barrel Ride. Elrond and the Moon Runes. Mirkwood. And Bjorn, the Shape Changer. There we go. So there we are. We have a full contingent of Hobbit minis, Hobbit squares, all ready to go. And I still haven't quite decided how I'm going to join them in the blanket. I think I'm just gonna, I kind of want to just put them next to each other and just join them and not border them. I'm really tempted to just have like a mass of colour. I think that would be really pretty. But then part of me also feels like I should border them, but then I don't know what colour to border them with, and that's more work. Whereas I could just join them and I wouldn't need to border them. I haven't decided. I need to think. I think what I need to do is go and have a look at different ways to border crochet blankets and see if I can find ways of joining it, because there's definitely ways of joining it where you can join it with a different colour and you just get like a little bit of that different colour, and I'm wondering about whether I might do it that way so that I've got like almost like a really narrow little border. I don't know. If anybody knows, if anybody has good resources for how like different borders for blankets and different joining methods for blankets, then let me know, because that would be great. Oh, the other thing I could do, actually, there's a join as you go method, isn't there? I know Hannah, Corner of Craft, has a tutorial for the join as you go method. I've used it before for one of my advent blankets. I might do that. I just need to think about what colour I might use to join it. I've probably still got a load of grey, drops grey, which is always quite handy for joining crochet blankets. Maybe I could do that. I don't know. I need to think. The other club thing I have to talk about is the March Beatrix Potter Club, which was inspired by The Tale of Tom Kitten. And it is this colour here. I'm so close to finishing this, it's frustrating. I just literally need to put a toe in. As you know, I am making, I thought there was something mucky on there, but it's not, it's just one little bright blue stitch. I love that. As you know, I'm making myself some little shorty socks. I'm doing similar to what I'm doing for the colour of the month for Tom, but in shorty socks for me. So I'm going to have odd shorty socks at the end of the year. Mostly it's my lazy way of being able to do reveals and have something knit up out of each thing without having to knit a pair of socks every month, which, well, I basically am knitting a pair of socks each month because I'm knitting one for Tom and one for me. But yeah, it's time space, but I don't mind having odd shorty socks, so that's what I'm doing. So yeah, this is the Tom Kitten colourway. I really liked this colourway. I really enjoyed dyeing it. It's a really, really pretty one. And I just did it's quite a low contrast heel for this one, but I really like the colour. So yeah, that's that one. I just literally, as I said, I need to put a toe in and then that is it. I'm thinking about doing some kind of blanket actually with all the leftovers, because I'll have a good kind of, probably about 30 grams left over from each of the 50 gram skeins that I've taken for the Beatrix Potter minis. So I might do some kind of big Beatrix Potter blanket with them all in order. I might hold it, I might do like a corner to corner or something like that, held with an undyed skein, and then just do it, like use it all up and then go into the next one. I might do something like that. That might be quite fun. Have a big Beatrix Potter blanket. So yeah, there we go. That is those on the go. They'll be finished next week. I'm going to try and put the toe in those this evening and get them done, because I need to cast on the April colourway, which I also really like. And I'm actually dyeing up the May colourway today. I've got ideas, so hopefully my ideas will go to plan. Right, what else did I want to talk about? Yeah, I've done that. Blanket progress. I've made progress on some blankets, on some big blankets as well. I just picked these up this week and I just fancied doing a bit of work on blankets. So I picked up my Mild Mayhem blanket. I've used this while I've done a few D&D sessions because it's a really nice mindless project. So if you are relatively new and you've not seen this before, this is what I call my Mild Mayhem blanket. And basically, I don't think I've got a square started. No, I haven't. Basically, what I'm doing is I am holding two magic knot balls together and just crocheting I think they're like 11 round granny squares, and then I'm joining those chaotic granny squares together to create a blanket. And I just love the randomness and the mild effect and how different every square looks. It's just a really fun, colourful blanket. It's chaos. It's, as I called it, I call it my mild mayhem blanket, but to be fair, it isn't a specific pattern in any way. It's just mild mayhem. But yeah, I'm basically holding, I've got one there that I've not started, but these two are nearly finished. I've got more. I have been making more magic knot balls. But basically these magic knot balls just contain like the scraps of the scraps. So usually when I've got about 5 grams or less left of a colourway, it will go into a magic knot ball. And then I'm just randomly, there's no colour management at all in this. I would just literally picking 2 magic knot balls and holding the 2 strands together from them and just seeing what comes out, basically. This magic knot ball is, the end of it is falling apart. I need to deal with that chaos at some point. But I really like the effect. I really, really enjoy how you've got like, there's certain squares that just like this one just feels really Christmassy, and then the one next to it is actually quite pastel, and then this one started out pastel and then went quite dark, and then you've got some that are like really kind of bright primary colours. But I just love how they're coming together. And I think since the last time I've showed this to you, I've finished 4 squares. Check, I've put progress keepers on them, yeah. So I finished these 2 here. I've also finished that one there, and then finally that one there as well. Part of me was tempted to just do another 1, 2, 3, 4, another 4 squares to finish off. I can go back again so you've got a bit more room. Another 4 squares to just finish this off, and then kind of finish it off as, it would be what, 5 by 5, but Tom was like, no, it needs to be bigger, it needs to be bigger. So it doesn't look like this will be finishing anytime soon, but it's a nice easy project to just add stuff to. So yeah, progress on my mild mayhem blanket. I'm going to try and keep this around so that when I do have D&D, I actually pick it up and reach for it, because I can pretty much get a square done during a D&D session, which works really nicely, and I don't know why I don't more often. And then the other blanket I've been working on, which has not seen the light of day in a long time, is my Cozy Memories blanket. And I've actually added quite a lot to this since you last seen it, and it is getting really big. I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to hold it up and show you properly. But this is, this is my Cozy Memories blanket. No idea if you can still hear me when I'm talking behind this. I'll just hold it up so you can see. I also have no idea what you could see. But yeah, this is, I'm using the pattern by Kemper Ray, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. I'm not sure whether it's available off Ravelry or not. It's been a long time. This has been on the needles for years. And I don't really refer to the pattern at all anymore. So I haven't looked to check whether it's available anywhere else. It is a free pattern, but there's also lots of other patterns for mitered square blankets. Now, the one thing you may have spotted, eagle-eyed among you, may have spotted that my blanket has got squares going in all kinds of different directions. I don't know whether that's going to show up. Sometimes the lighting doesn't quite show it up. So when I started this blanket, my intention had been for them all to go in the same direction, and to just do it so that it, like a normal Cozy Memories blanket where the squares will go in the same direction. And then I messed one up, and at that point I was really slow. I was really tentative with Cozy Memories with the mitered squares. It took me ages to do one, and I could not face ripping it out. So I started just putting them in different directions. And then I thought to myself, oh, I need to make this symmetrical because my brain can't handle it not being symmetrical. So I planned it all out. So I have this ridiculous little plan in this book. Each of those squares is a different square of the mitered blanket, of the Cozy Memories blanket. and the lines obviously show what direction the seam, what do you call it? What direction the central decrease line has to go. So yeah, it will be symmetrical, it will be like that, and that is the size of the blanket. So actually I'm a significant way through this blanket, as you can see, and that will be the finished size when I eventually get to it. But yeah, making progress slowly. I've added, since you last seen this, I've added, I don't know what most of these yarns are. I finished off that corner, and then I've been working along this row here. So I've added various yarns along this row here. That's one that Arthur dyed, and I knit a cowl for my dad out of that one. That's one from an advent, one of my advents a number of years ago. That was from Henny Penny Makes. That was her faded Christmas colourway. I knit a pair of socks out of that one. Yeah, there we go. So I've added all of those ones. So I've got 2 more to finish off this row, and then I'll start the next row. But yeah, it's really pretty, and I definitely want it finished, and I've really enjoyed picking it up and working on it, actually. It's one of those ones that's so close to being finished that I feel like just a few weeks of really kind of picking it up and reaching it, and I could be even closer to finishing it. Yeah, we'll see. I do this, I go through phases, don't I? I'm sure if you've been with the podcast for a while, you'll have noticed this. I go through phases where I will work on something like a blanket, like for ages I'll work on it, and then I kind of get sick of it and it gets put aside for months at a time. But yeah, we'll see. Right, that is all of my knitting and crafting stuff. I've got a little bit of Yarny Goodness to share. Because these lovely minis from Laura at The Lonely Knitter, Bumbling Yarns, have arrived. These are her Mandalorian inspired Scrappy Minis Club. I've been thinking about these minis. I've got quite a few packs of these now because I've been kind of ordering bits and pieces here and there for the last couple of years from her Scrappy Club. And I was thinking about Advents this year, and I usually do an Advent swap, the Lay Family Yarn Advent swap. I usually take part in that. And last December, I started a corner to corner crochet blanket using all of the 5 gram Advent swap minis. Now, I've actually bought a couple of Advent calendars this year, and I know that I'm doing a swap with at least 2, if not 3 dyers. I'm swapping Advent, so I've got the potential of having 4 or 5 Advent calendars this year. So I'm thinking I might not do the Advent swap, but I really want to continue that corner to corner blanket. And it was just going to be my Advent blanket, and I was going to add the 5 gram Scrappy minis from the swap on it every year. But I'm actually wondering whether what I might do is, instead of continuing it as an Advent blanket, I might now continuing it as a Scrappy blanket and just start adding in the Bumbling Yarns Scrappy minis and just turn it into all of Laura's yarns in that blanket. I know I'll have like a bit of random Advent blanket there too, but I don't think that would worry me too much because that was all 5 gram minis anyway, so actually the lengths of the colour transitions and everything like that would be very similar. And Laura's Scrappy minis are quite what am I trying to say? Her minis, like looking through all the packs, they're all very different in the same way that like a Scrappy Advent is very different. So I don't think it would be jarring. I don't think it would be suddenly going from like lots and lots of pretty pastels to suddenly lots and lots of dark colours. It's not like that. There are lots of pastel minis in these sets. There's also dark minis in these sets. There's also more variegated minis and more tonal minis. And I think that would work really well in that Advent blanket. So I'm thinking I might do that. So not do the Advent swap this year and just start putting the Bumbling Yarns minis into that blanket instead. I think that might be what I do actually, rather than, because I wanted them to all go in one project anyway. And I think that would be quite good. And I kind of like the idea of making that massive and doing it as like a real sort of double bed sized blanket. So I think that might be what happens. What do you reckon? What do you think? Let me know. Yeah, last thing, shop news. And then I really do need to go and dye yarn because I need to get 2 batches of yarn done today. And it's nearly 10:30 already and I've not got any of them on yet. We'll see. So the last thing was shop news. What was I going to say for shop news? There's not a lot to say really. Thank you to everyone who was infinitely patient with the fact that the clubs went out so late for April. I had an absolute nightmare with a yarn order that went missing, and it was a real significant yarn order as well. It was a big one. And it went missing and it got delayed, and it was supposed to be with me on a certain date and then it wasn't. And I think what was really frustrating is if I'd just ordered from the company again, it would have arrived next day, but it was such a significant yarn order, I couldn't afford to order again. Anyway, it got here eventually, and then of course I actually had to get it dyed and packaged, and then it was a 3-day week because the kids were off for the bank holiday and in service days, and but I have finally caught up and I am being organised and I am ahead of myself. So this week the clubs are only closed, in fact I haven't actually closed them yet, they will be closed, but I need to close them, but the clubs are finally closed, and I'm going to start dyeing them straight away and just get on it basically. I need to dye June's clubs up in advance as well because of the garage conversion, so yeah, I will be more on top of it hopefully for the next few months. But yeah, thank you for your patience was what I was trying to say. And then the final thing I wanted to say was Advents. Advent calendars are now live in my shop. I am doing a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory inspired Advent calendar this year. I am so excited about it. I am desperate to sit down and start planning the colours. I'm planning really nice, bright, colourful colours. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. You can order it on a variety of bases. So it's available on 10 gram 4-ply, 20 gram 4-ply, 20 gram sparkle 4-ply, and also 20 gram DK. It comes with 100 gram skein, which you can choose from merino nylon 4-ply, merino nylon DK, or Stellina sparkly one as well. And yeah, it's in the shop now. Pre-orders are available. Payment plans are available as well. I'm hoping to keep, well, I'll probably keep the Advent up for most of this month unless I suddenly get a flurry of orders, but I've still got lots and lots of spaces on, so it will probably stay up for the month, and then I'll take it down at the end of the month and just go with whatever numbers I've got unless there is a big flurry of orders, but yeah. So yeah, Advents, get your Advent calendar if you haven't ordered your Advent calendar yet, because that would be amazing. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you very much for watching. I will hopefully be sitting down to record my monthly roundup video for March and April tomorrow. So that should be going up later in the week. And I should be back next Monday, I think, with a podcast as normal. I can't think of anything that will get in the way with it. So hopefully I will be back next week. And I will see you all then. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.